G'day team, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today's video is going to be about the site ribbon. So the site ribbon is all about the land and the boundaries. So most of the tools in here are pretty good. A couple of them are red hot trash, and I'll just quickly go through what each of them do on a basic level, and yeah, hope you get something out of it. So Topo surface. This one is relatively self-explanatory a lot, but yeah, I mean, most of these buttons are. Topo surface is your topography, which is just your ground, essentially. So this big old slice of land or ground here is a topo surface. You can do a lot to modify and control the extents of the land and make it suit your needs. When I say suit your needs, I mean you can work out the extents of cut and fill, and you can work out exactly how long like a batter bank, for example, needs to be, which is like, you know, like a grade in the land. It's something that has to be worked out quite accurately, which is why a couple of the tools that Revit actually provides are pretty trash. So Topo surface itself, like I said, it's just the land. It's consisted of a series of just points. So you have boundary points and you have interior points. So a boundary point is, I'll give you a second to guess, but it's the point that forms the boundary. And all of the interior points, believe it or not, are the points within those boundary points. So if I was to select all of the topo surface here, but I only wanted to grab the interior points, I can go up to filter and then chuck, tick the interior or boundary or whatever for whatever purpose. Each point has a height, so an elevation, and that is related to the level that the topography is associated with. So you can see here it's negative about 300, which means that 0 would probably be, I would guess, whatever the finished floor level of the house is. So if we go to our elevation, and you can see first floor is 0, which has confirmed my suspicions. So all of the topography is based on this first floor being the 0 point. When creating a new topo surface, you can either create it manually by placing points. So if we go in here, we say this is going to be 3,000 along here, and then we'll go 2,000 through here, and then we'll go 1,000 there. So that's got us a new topography in here. The other way of doing it is to create from an import. So very, very common to get a DWG from a surveyor, which is known as a topographical survey, which case you would hope that they've done their job and provided height data on each of the layers in AutoCAD, so that then it's just a simple case of importing selecting the DWG, which has to already be in the job, and then selecting the layers of the DWG which form the contours, and then it will just generate from that. It should take you a few seconds if done correctly. Next up we have site components, which is pretty much just like your trees and RPC, whatever you call it, entourage. Parking components, same deal. If you're going to be working on a job which has to have car parks in it, this is a way to put them in. You can also put them in just as a standard component, but if for whatever reason you want to use the button which is specifically made for car parks, go hard on this. All right, building pads. First controversial opinion is building pads are pretty trash. I don't like using them. I don't recommend using them. I think that they lack control, which you need in drawing house plans, in my opinion at least. And I've got much better ways of doing things more accurately than with a building pad. And I'm just going to throw it out there as well that graded region is also it's gross. I don't like using it. I think it just wasn't that well thought through, and what you'd use the graded region for, I have a method of modeling the new and the existing topography, which is just way better. And I'm going to remake that video in length. That'll probably be 15-20 minutes long, that one, but it's very thorough, and it's a very, very important thing to know how to do. But it's not about the graded region. It's just about creating topo surfaces, splitting the surface based on the extent of the batters, and then I mean, I'm not going to explain it here because it deserves its own video. But yeah, the split surface tool is a great little tool. Essentially, you'll click that, select the topography of which you want to split, and then we're just going to draw whatever shape you need to be. It can be a lot more versatile than that, but just for example's sake, we'll go finish edit mode. Now, these two are independent of each other. So if I was to delete this can stay. If I was to move this one down, a couple of meters, this one's going to stay. They are totally independent of each other, which if you're modeling topography can be a good thing. So if we want all of this to be, let's say 1200, then we can. That's essentially what the building pad tool does, but kind of with less control, and it's just a bit more fiddly. And then we can also, modify this and split this further. I highly recommend the video that's going to be upcoming. Can't recommend it at the moment because it hasn't been made, but yeah, the split surface tool is it's a great tool, which is very important to get your head around. I noticed a couple of things when going through. This is just like the residential example project. So you can see they've created this driveway with a sub-region, right? So a sub-region is similar to a split surface, but it doesn't actually split the topography into two separate entities. So when we drew that rectangle in, it just split it apart. If we draw this one in, just means you can paint it with a different material or whatever. It's kind of like this, but like less useful. So you can see here they've got their driveway, but they've also got the driveway just sticking up above this retaining wall here. And then additionally, this retaining wall isn't actually retaining anything up at this point. So additionally, like this little fin floating up in space up here, it's just, whoever put this together is not someone who has a ton of experience drawing actual real life house plans, because this looks like an okay example, but I mean, if this is the flagship file that you're going to send out with your software to say here's what it can do, maybe spend a couple of minutes checking it before you send it out. Who knows? Not to end my scathing attack on the poor people that work at Autodesk trying to put this program out, but yeah, so we've gone over split surface, we've gone over subregion. Merge surfaces is, I just don't use this tool. It's dangerous. Don't. If you need to merge the surfaces, just actually model them and make them work properly together, as different surfaces. Don't undo all of your hard work in splitting by using this tool. Property line is, if we go to our site plan, so it's just essentially just the property boundary. You can draw it as entering bearings and distances. So if you've got a registered plan or whatever subdivision plan, which actually you're looking at a PDF or an image, then you can just read out this is 36.325 meters at 180 degrees, 22 seconds, 22 minutes 18 seconds, and then work your way around. Or you can create by sketching. So there's no right or wrong. If you're going to have to copy it from a registered plan, you are going to need to know how to do it as entering distances and bearings. I'll do a video on this specifically by itself because this is extremely important to know and it's not particularly intuitive, but create by sketching, anyone can work that out. And as mentioned earlier, graded region is just not a great tool. I have a better way of doing it, which doesn't involve the graded region tool, but yeah, stay tuned for that. And finally, label contours is 2-point clicks, and then it's going to place a little tiny contour label on each contour. I don't use this tool. Again, I mean, it's probably half of the entire ribbon, which I just red flag, stay away from at all costs. But yeah, I'll just do a detail group and actually manually label it, because this just looks messy. I hate that. But yeah, I didn't mean to. I must be in just an aggressive mood, because that's just seemed like a scathing attack on Revit and Autodesk. But I promise I do love this program, and I hope you got something out of this. And yeah, stay tuned for the content upcoming, because yeah, these tools can be used to great effect if used properly. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you all soon, and have a good evening.